All right, in this video, we're going to look at the percent equation. It's another way to deal with percent type questions. So I have video sheet 6.4 handy and a pencil. All right, here is the percent equation as it's presented in the book. I'm going to go ahead and label these, and I suggest you do the same. P does stand for percent. W stands for the whole. The only letter that really doesn't stand for the first part, the first letter of the word, is this one. And this one is the part. I guess we couldn't use the letter P twice. So that's why we use an A there. So to find the part of something, you take the percent of the whole. You multiply the percent times the whole. So let's see how this works in action. If you want to try these, if you've already had instruction in your class at school and you want to try these on your own, you can. If you're completely clueless, that's okay too. That's why you're watching the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to find 30% of 125. So we're basically trying to find the smaller number that is 30% of 125. So in this problem, we're trying to find a value. Now, every time you use this equation, you're always going to change the percent to a decimal. Always. So remember how to do that. Go back to 0.3 times 125. And I'm not sure if your teacher is allowing you to use a calculator yet or not. If not, just come out to the side and multiply 125 times 0.3. And that's 375, but it's 37.5 because there's one thing behind the decimal. So the answer to this is 37.5. Let's try the next one. Same idea. Change 0.2 to a decimal. 0.2% is 0.002, and multiply that times 300. That's how it works every single time. 300 times 0.002, well, 300 times 2 is 600. But we have three things behind the decimal, so three things behind the decimal makes this 0.6. All right. Find the sales tax amount on a new car if the car costs $30,000 and there's a 7.8% sales tax. So we're trying to find what 7.8% of 30,000 is. So try this one, pause the video, try these two, come back when you're done. All right, so it's the same as the last slide. We're going to do 0.078 times 30,000. And just to save a little time, I'm going to go ahead and cheat and get my calculator out and do 30,000 times 0.078. And that is 2,340. So on like I would say a normal car, you're going to pay an extra $2,340 in tax. 7.8% is a pretty average tax. So this is a pretty normal real life question here. You're going to pay that much more for a car just for tax. If a school has 600 students and 53% buy their lunch, how many is this? 53% of 600. So I'm going to do 0.53 times 600. And again, just to save some time, I'm going to use calculator and get 318. All right. It's the same every time. If you're trying to find the part, multiply the percent times the whole. You get a 60% on a test by getting 10 questions correct. How many questions were there on the test? Now, this one's a little bit harder. We got 60% on the test. We don't know how many total questions there were on the test. So we do know that we got parts. This part, that's the part we got right. So that is actually this number. That's the A value. So you multiply 0.6 times some unknown amount. We'll call it W for whole. 0.6 times some total amount of questions would give us the 10 that we got right. So this question is a little bit backwards from the rest. We give you the part and you're trying to find the whole. So to solve this equation, remember we need to divide by 0.6. So divide by 0.6, and that gives you your answer of about 17 questions on the test. 16.6 repeating, which is 17 questions. So that was a little bit harder of a question. You currently make $10.50 and your boss is giving you a 3% raise. How much more will you make? Well, 3%, $10.50 is the whole this time. So we're going to do 3%, 0.03 times 10.50. And that turns out to be, I think it's going to be 31.5 cents. But let me double check that. Yeah. So this gives you 0.315, which is 31.5 cents, which is not a great raise. 32 cents-ish. So if I was writing this money, I would probably put 0.32 like that. All right, a couple more slides and we'll call it good. Again, hopefully you're starting to get the hang of these. These aren't real easy, I would say. These are a little more difficult. So look at these and see if you can set them up. 700 students voted for having a hat spirit day. If this represents 30% of the entire school, here's your keyword, entire school. 35% of the school. So I don't know what the whole school is. I do know that the part that voted is 700. So that's how you want to set it up. And you do the math here, and you're going to get 2,000 students. You're going to divide by 0.35, and that's going to give you 2,000 total students. So you have to be really careful about whether we give you the whole or the part. You got a 62 out of 80 on a unit test. What percent is this? Typically on this one, I would just do 62 out of 80, and that's probably what you have done in the past to find the percent on a test. But I'll use the equation. 62 is the part. The percent is unknown, so I'm going to put a P this time, and 80 is the whole. So I divide by 80, and I end up with the same thing that I said from the very beginning. 62 out of 80 is 77.5%. All right, so that's using the percent equation. Last one, number 9. Class reached 120% of their collection goal by collecting 2,500. So they collected 2,500. That's the part they collected. We're trying to find their goal. So it's 125, so 1.25 of some whole amount that was their goal. They collected 2,500. So that's pretty hard. This is a hard question to tell that 25 is the part. So if you got those mixed up, you're not alone. This was a pretty hard question. So their goal, if you divide by 1.25, their goal was $2,000. They collected more than their goal. So that's why it's 125%, because they collected 500 more than their goal. All right, I hope this video helped. The percent equation comes in handy quite a bit. So we'll see you next time.